St. Lucia, this is Open Mic, and we're now back to the second segment of our program. When we left off, we were talking about the borrowings and what is going on. You know, I sat back at my home since I came from abroad, quite concerned, quite perturbed over the whisperings I'm getting from various people, accountants, well-qualified people, who are genuinely very, very concerned of what is going on. So I sat back there and I said, you know something, as a business person, if I was borrowing millions of dollars, I'd first ask myself, how am I going to pay that money back? What am I going to invest the money in that could give me a return on the money? You know, and I did a very quick calculation here, Mary. First of all, I keep repeating over and over, one of our main contributors of revenue today is tourism. And we must not lose sight over the fact that Cuba is back on stream. I love Cuban people because I've worked with them. They're very good people. But remember, there's an old saying, among my mother's children, I love myself the best. And in Cuba, Cuba is going to move forward. America is a bigger country than St. Lucia. Americans are looking at big profits. They're going to be spending a lot of money, a lot of investments. Cruise ships are going to go and all. I'm not saying we're going to lose any cruise ship business now, but remember, one man's profit is another man's loss, because things can change very quickly. I have repeatedly said that in Castries Harbor, it is disgraceful what is going on. In the eyes of everybody, we are pumping 120,000 gallons of raw sewer into that harbor for the last 30 years. When that barge, the tug sank, and the 4 Dutchmen were raising it up, I heard them say clearly that there's actually 7 feet of slush. Most of it is raw sewer in the harbor. And as a matter of fact, and when the cruise ships are turning, the visibility below is 0. You know, I don't understand how any government, and I'm not talking only of the St. Lucia Labour Party, but also the United Workers' Party, who have been in power, can look and drive by this every day and do nothing about it. When some 8 or 10 years ago, I brought in a very competent person from Barbados to diagnose that problem. The diagnosis was very simple. All the pipes come out of the promontory. One huge treatment plant would deal with that, so whatever would come out would be fresh water. And nothing has been done. Our Prime Minister in the last year spoke to the French government. They gave, I think, 200,000 euros for a feasibility, which is not necessary, because many feasibility, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to know and understand what has to be done. Now, to me, you're taking money to invest on a 4-lane highway when right before your eyes, and it's only a question of time before the powers that be in the cruise industry come down hard on us and say, look at me, our cruise ships will not be coming here anymore because your water is too polluted.
That's right.
I mean, we have a small harbor. My goodness. I mean, I just can't understand why that is not done. Now, you have been around. I have a couple other areas of which to address, but I don't want to monopolize the show because I want to hear what you have to say.
Okay.
What is your take on a situation like that, if you had a choice to make?
Yeah, I know for some time now they've been talking about expanding on the harbor, bringing it towards Banan, going around, or having another booth or whatever, going towards Tapio, right there, underneath the old mental home.
Right.
There's something like a port there.
Talking about the old mental home, but you know what the plan is for the mental home.
Well, I heard some talk about the Prime Minister wanting it for his office.
Yeah,
and so on.
He wants to put a Prime Minister's office there. Now, to me, that doesn't make any sense, because if you look directly below that home, in local language, it's called un salopui, okay? Because the reason for that is because all the slush comes down from the Castries River. Now, this is a bay. It is so easy to backfill that area so nothing will harbor there. And if you take the road, Mary. It's collapsing from that spot going back to where the banana boats used to dock.
Yeah.
To sheet pile that.
Yeah.
And that can be done, I'm telling you, Mary, in a matter of 6 months. And you can create 2 cruise ship berths. And you know, you drive down to the south of the island, you have to go through the roundabout, you have to go to the Sanders Regency, and you see all those pieces of old trucks lying off on the road.
Yeah.
When you have 200 acres of land in Cul-de-sac, 200 acres of land doing nothing for the last 25 years. You take 5 acres of land, backfill it, fence it properly, move all that stuff down there, including all the containers on the wharf in the Castries area. Let me tell you something. They noticed they started demolishing the old fire building and also the old banana office. But it is being done so slowly. I mean, it is crazy. That thing can be finished in 6 weeks.
I think they had somebody doing that and the person passed or something.
Yeah, I heard there was a Cuban guy.
Yeah.
But you know...
So now I suspect it's on a
No, but the Cuban guy
again.
was brought down specifically because of the asbestos roof, and he was knowledgeable. But the roof is gone. What is left is just the concrete. That can be broken down in a weekend. So I don't understand why they don't, for instance, on a Friday, you just close off the place until Monday morning and demolish that there in no time, you know. But anyway, because when one looks at Castries, it is really heartbreaking to see what is going on.
It's depressing.
Yeah, it's very depressing.
Yeah.
Now, you know, for instance, I went to the back of the market, the Castries market, and I never realized that you have a lot of vendors there and also some minibus people who pick up people. That is at the back of the market. And Mary, if you see the condition of that place, again, in a week, that place can be pressure washed, sanitized. A simple roof can be put over to keep away the elements from the people there to earn a living. And I can't understand why, you know, we have all that right before us that can be done. Why are we ignoring the situation? Now, we have in the Sans Souci, close to the fisheries, a building which is a finance building that's completed at the cost of $40 to $50 million, sitting there closed.
Yeah.
Nothing is happening there.
Yeah, I suspect there's a problem with that building.
Sorry?
I suspect there's a problem with it. They cannot move into it. I'm not sure, but I
You
suspect
don't
there's
know
a
what the
problem.
But this is madness because, you know, if you're looking at $50 million investment and you take 5% interest, and then you have to, I guess you have to insure the building if something happens, if a fire or something like that. So all this is a cost to us when that money could have been used to do something more appropriate.
Well, there are a lot of the offices that house public workers right now that need to be demolished, or the public workers need to be moved from there. For instance, the High Court Registry, the people in the High Court Registry, they need, that place has been closed, right, for the past few weeks. They need to relocate these people. They need to relocate, I was told, the people in the AG's office, and so on and so forth. But for some reason, the people there are some places at Treasury, where the people, there are some health and safety issues. There are a lot of these buildings that have where the workers have health and safety issues. But instead of relocating the people, they're sending them home half-day, they have them on a half-day basis, and so on and so forth. And the work that needs to be done, for instance, when you send the High Court Registry workers home, or you shut down half-day for health reasons, you are also stopping the work of the justice system. You are shutting down the justice system. And of course, you know of all the people we have on remand, all these people that are incarcerated and they haven't been charged, and all the cases, the real gruesome murder cases that we have that are put on hold as a result of that. And that has been going on for a very long time. If you look at some of the government buildings, they do not maintain the buildings, so therefore the buildings fall apart. And it reaches the stage where the workers have to actually walk out before they do anything about these buildings. But there you have a new building. And instead of relocating the workers to that building, for some reason it's just standing there. There are some places where they are paying so much money, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, millions of dollars they've paid since the UWP government moved the workers to that building. And they said it was too expensive, too costly. But they haven't done anything about it. They've kept it every time they come into office, they keep it there. And they pay a high amount of rent for that building, and the conditions inside of there are deplorable.
I mean, at the new place or the old place?
The Ministry of Foreign Affairs at Baywalk.
It's deplorable.
Oh yes, yes. The roof is caving in, water comes in, and you know,
Wow.
they have a lot of health and safety issues in
But
that
this
building.
is unbelievable.
Yes, the power just shuts down in the entire building sometimes for a few seconds, and it comes back up. You're on the entire floor.
Yeah.
You know, so we need to do something about this building that's just standing there.
Now, you see, for instance, I'll tell you something, Mary. Also, where the Coast Guard station is located, there, I went there
A lot
recently.
of land there.
Yeah.
Yes.
We have 20 acres of land. When I say we, the government
Wow.
owns 20 acres of land. I noticed about 50 to 60 boats that have been seized for drugs with old engines and old cars just thrown. And this
So it's
is
a
a
junkyard.
perfect place for another 2 cruise ship berths where you can put a nice, modern, updated Point Seraphim.
Point Seraphim. Yeah. Or
Yeah, to
extend
match
on
what's
Point
going
Seraphim.
on. Yeah, you know what I mean? And you know, on 20 acres of land. And I mean, it is heartbreaking to see that. Next to it, you have the VG Cove, which is a beautiful little cove. All that has to be done is to put a couple of boulders across so that when the tide gets very high, it doesn't swamp inside. And you can have beautiful cafes and small shops and beautifully decorated. It's disgraceful, it's run down, it's right at the back of the official
It's
residence
like
of the
they've
prime.
forgotten about it.
Sorry?
It's as if they've forgotten
Yeah,
about it.
and you know, that's right in the heart of the city.
Of the city,
Yeah,
yeah.
and it really makes no sense at all. You know, I mean, then you have, for instance, now on another score, we have just been listening much to the agricultural side, which I'm going to deal with because we've now come to the end of the second segment of our program, and we do that.